decoding the life, the journey, the inward journey. Most of the people are interested only in outward journey, but the real journey is within, to explore the self. 99% of the people ignore this journey, but there are only rare fortunate soul who embark this journey. So I am inspired that all of you are serious spiritual seekers, and believe me, this journey will be very, very satisfying. So we begin with our prayers, with the invocation prayers, so that this knowledge, the knowledge which is revealed in Bhagavad Gita, which is the wisdom which is beyond human intelligence, can become accessible through the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So we begin with our prayers. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Dapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita has so much inspired and influenced the entire world fraternity. I'll give one example. I'll cite one example before I go to the second chapter of rediscovering our actual identity. One of the Nobel Prize winner for the creation of quantum mechanics. Anyone of you aware? Who won the Nobel Prize for quantum mechanics? Quantum mechanics is one of the most difficult subjects in modern education. And he's a German scientist. Anyone of you who know who is the personality? Okay, his name is Werner Karl Heinsberg. And he is one of the key person, the principal scientist for not only discovering the quantum mechanics, but also the one who programmed the nuclear proliferation of Germany. So he said he was one of the students. He is one of the main studies was he was studying Vedanta in 1930s. And he said that not only is the universe strange than we think, it is stranger than we can think. So this world is full of unpredictabilities and uncertainties because the reality is not known to most of us. So today we will explore the reality which is revealed from the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. I'll share one PPT. I hope it is visible. You can see the screen. Our coordinator.
Roji.
So we'll be taking the second chapter. It's a big chapter. This chapter is entitled as Contents of Gita Summarized, because all that we need to know from Bhagavad Gita is presented in this chapter. Of course, in a very precise and a concise way. And in later chapter, it is expanded, it is detailed. So in the last chapter, we saw the first session that we discussed was redefining success. So we saw that Dhritarashtra, he is so much obsessed. His formula to success is that if he can retain the kingdom to be his own, if he remains the king, that is success. And to pursue his success, what he did, he sacrificed his all 100 sons. All of them were lost. They all got killed. They died in the battlefield. Although he knew before the battle started that they will all die because on the other side there is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he continued to pursue his mantra of success, and ultimately his success was never achieved. On the other hand, we saw that Arjuna had no inclination to have this kingdom. We discussed that in the last time. He says, I cannot enjoy if I lose my near and dear ones. So Arjuna gave 5 reasons. For him, his success was he can enjoy more if he has the association and company of his near and dear ones. So Arjuna gave 5 reasons where he decided that he will not fight. And out of the 5, 4 were in the first chapter, 5th one is in the second chapter. First was compassion, that if he fights and if he kills, then he will not be happy because killing entails crying. So he had compassion, not only for the soldiers on his side, but also for the enemy side. Second, the most important reason for his decision was loss of enjoyment. He was thinking if he does not fight, if he escapes the fight, then he can enjoy better. And third was his fear for sinful reaction. And fourth was destruction of the family. So in this way, we saw Arjuna's formula for success was to avoid the war. And Dhritarashtra's formula for success was to inevitably have the war. So now the second chapter starts, and Arjuna's situation at the end of the first chapter is very, very deplorable. Arjuna, if we see in the last verses of the first chapter, we discussed last time also, he was Vepatuscha sharire me rom harshascha jayate, that his entire body was trembling, his hair was standing on end, he was having so much fear in his heart, and his mind was completely disturbed. Hare Krishna. So Arjuna is in complete crisis. This is how this second chapter begins. Our today's quest for rediscovering identity. So Arjuna is in a complete crisis. His mind is completely disturbed. His mind is not just distressed or disturbed, he is so much into depression that Arjuna is even crying on the battlefield. So the first 10 verses talks about crisis. And there is no one in this world who does not face crisis, whose mind does not get disturbed or get depressed. So how to come out of the situation when the mind is disturbed and the mind is distressed and we are in severe anxiety? And then the second section, the main section where we will focus today, is the real identity. What is my real identity? Krishna comes into position in Bhagavad Gita in the second chapter, and the first lesson he gives Arjuna is to be successful, first you need to know your real identity. He removes the illusion which is there in the heart of Arjuna. And to be able to realize one's real identity, it is not so easy or cheap. One has to perform two duties. And what are these two duties? That will be detailed in this section. The third section, it talks about performing Swadharma and Sanatan Dharma. So one who performs both these duties, then he can actually come to the position or platform where he can be always happy, sustained happiness. So if I put this in an acronym for you to always remember the entire second chapter, it can be in one word, and that is Gita. So in the crisis, what we need a guide or a guru. So the first section of the second chapter stands for guide or guru. He pulls us out of our crisis. And what the guide or guru gives is the identity, the real identity. And how we can realize the real identity? By performing two duties. And then one can come to the platform of Atmaram. So G stands for guru or guide. I stands for identity. T stands for two duties. And A stands for Atmaram. So this is the overview of the second chapter. And Arjuna being completely perplexed, confused, disturbed, distressed, so much so far that he is not able to maintain his composure. Arjuna is crying on the battlefield. It is an inconceivable scene that a warrior like Arjuna is in tears. Why? Because he has completely broken down. He cannot handle his situation. He cannot handle his emotion. It's a complete emotional breakdown. And in such a situation, Arjuna looks towards Krishna. Very beautiful verse from where the journey of realization begins. Karpanya dosho upahat swabhava prikshami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yat shreyasya nishchitam bruhi tanme Shishyaste hamshadimam tvam prapannam. So the great merit of Arjuna is that Arjuna is not a hypocrite. Arjuna is a person who is with integrity and honesty. He expresses himself. What he is facing inside, which is confusion, is facing bewilderment. So he acknowledges. He very frankly admits and he tells Krishna that, my dear sir, I am now confused. And I have no ability to discriminate what I should do and what I should not do, because I am not able to finalize what is the most best or welfare for me. Why? Because of the weakness of my hearts. We discussed last time that the weakness of heart is due to material attachments. So in this condition, I am asking you to please guide me and tell me for certain what is best for me. And Arjuna changes his position. So far, he has remained Krishna's friend, but now Arjuna accepts the position of being Krishna's disciple. He says, Shishyaste, that now I am your disciple and I am surrendering unto you. What does surrender means? Surrender means no more further arguments, but acceptance. That is what it means to be a disciple. And we see that literally Bhagavad Gita begins, Krishna begins to speak only in the second chapter. In the first chapter, Krishna did not speak because Arjuna was in no mood to hear Krishna. Arjuna was giving his own arguments. So the real journey or the real learning does not begin unless and until the aspirant becomes a student. Student means he becomes a keen learner who does not just argue, but he accepts what the person who is more superior to him in knowledge reveals or shares with him. So Krishna accepts the position of a spiritual master, and immediately Krishna chastises Arjuna. This is very interesting, very fascinating part of Bhagavad Gita. Today's scenario we see is very difficult for a teacher even to admonish his student. But we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna takes the position of a spiritual master and he admonishes, chastises Arjuna and tells him that what you are lamenting is not worth. You are speaking as if you are very learned, but you do not know what is the difference or discrimination between matter and spirit. So what Krishna gives Arjuna is his real identity, the real identity check. Bhagavad Gita gives us the reality of our identity. So in crisis, there is indecision, as we see, and Arjuna is very intelligent, actually. That is why Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. So he takes the right decision. So in our life also, this is a life lesson for us, that whenever we are in crisis, in that state of crisis, we are in severe anxiety. We are in distress state. And in the distress state of anxiety, our intelligence does not work. And when the intelligence does not work, if we try to take the decision will not lead us to success. So in such a situation, what we should do? We should at least consult. We should invariably consult. Consult whom? Not someone else who is in crisis. Then we will be in furthermore crisis. But someone who is beyond this quagmire of crisis. That means someone who is beyond this situation, someone who is spiritually situated. So Arjuna takes this decision of consultation with Krishna. And in this way, Arjuna is able to overcome the crisis in his life. So in our life also, we may have many situations. In fact, every day we are put into crisis because every day we have to take so many decisions. And that decision can decide the destination of our future. So on what basis? What is the criteria of our decisions? If the criteria of our decision is our false identity, then we will not be able to reach our goal. We will not be able to reap the real success. So here we see the life lesson that we learn from Arjuna, that we must consult. We must consult, and here he surrenders. he surrenders to Krishna. Arjuna has realized that on his own, he cannot solve his problem. In our case, we keep on bragging. We don't accept. We keep trying. We keep making experiment. But that cannot help us. So Arjuna is very intelligent. He takes the right decision and he wants to come out of the situation where he is. If you see, one of the greatest scientists, Albert Einstein, he has a very famous quote that no problem can be solved at the level or the platform where it was created. To give the solution to the problem, one has to come to the higher platform. And we see that in our life, that whenever there is New Year, we take so many resolutions. So many New Year resolutions to change or to upgrade ourselves. But only the year changes, nothing else changes. Because in the same level of platform, in the same level of consciousness, we will not be able to come out of the situation where we are. So Arjuna is really intelligent, he is smart, and he comes out of his crisis by accepting Krishna as his guru, as his guide, as his spiritual teacher. And whom he accepts as his guide and his spiritual teacher, not an ordinary person. He accepts Krishna, and Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We see very interestingly in Bhagavad Gita, the first verse is spoken by Dhritarashtra. So when Dhritarashtra speaks, Vyasadeva says, Dhritarashtra Uvacha. And then the later verses are spoken by Sanjay. And Vyasadeva writes Sanjay Uvacha. Even when Arjuna speaks, Vyasadeva writes Arjuna Uvacha. But when Krishna speaks, Vyasadeva does not write Krishna Uvacha. He says that Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the source. He is the origin. He is the root. He is the foundation from where everyone and everything has emanated. When we come to the 10th chapter, Krishna will very emphatically declare that. And Krishna is because he is the origin, he is the root, he is the foundation, he is the source, he is the proprietor. He is the one who is the source of origin of all. So one who is the origin, one who is the source, he is also the enjoyer. The proprietor can only be the enjoyer. Krishna is the enjoyer. In the 5th chapter, he will declare that. And Krishna is also the supreme controller. Many times we are confused. We feel that there are so many Bhagwans. Bhagavad Gita says Krishna is Bhagwan. Shiv Puran says Shiva is Puran. Some other Vedic scripture says Ganesh is Bhagwan. Some other scripture says that Durga is Bhagwati. She is the supreme. So as many personalities, as many demigods, as many controllers. But that is not the fact. I'll give you one example to understand. Like you happen to be in a office of a big company. So any big company office you go, there is a front desk which we call as reception. And if you come early in the morning on the reception, what you will see that whoever comes in, the office staff, the receptionist will greet him. Say the head clerk comes at 9:30, the head clerk comes. So the receptionist will greet her and say, "Good morning, sir." And the person who is there at the reception, he will think that the receptionist is addressing this person as sir. So he must be the owner. But 5 minutes later, the manager comes. And then again, the receptionist, she again stands up and she greets the manager by saying, "Good morning, sir." So that means, is this person also the manager? Then the general manager comes. she does the same. Then the vice president comes, she greets him in the same way. And finally, the president comes, she greets him in the same way. And ultimately, the chairman also comes, the chairperson also comes. So she also greets him by addressing him as sir. But Bhagavad Gita very clearly establishes that amongst all the controllers, which is Ishvara, the supreme Ishvara is Krishna. And there are so many evidences when we will come into the 10th chapter. Arjuna will very emphatically declare that amongst all the controllers, the highest controller, the supreme controller, the supreme absolute truth is Lord Krishna. And we see, what does Ishvara mean? One who controls. And who controls? Who has this 6 transcendental qualities. This is explained by Sri Parashar Muni, who is the father of Sri Vyasadeva. So he says that the supreme person or the personality of Godhead is one who has these 6 possessions. What are these 6 possessions? That he is Aishwarya Samagrasya Virasya Yashasha Shriya Jnana Vairagyasteva Sannim Bhaga Itendriya. So he says the person who is the reservoir of all beauty. There is no one in the history of mankind whose beauty has been most appreciated or more appreciated than Lord Sri Krishna. There are hundreds and thousands of compositions which is glorifying and admiring the beauty of Lord Sri Krishna, although he happens to be dark complexion. But his beauty, there are so many literatures which is filled with glorification of Krishna's beauty. And the word Krishna itself, just a moment. So Krishna, the word Krishna itself means which attracts everyone. So he is the most attractive person. He is so attractive that even he attracts the Cupid, Kamadev. Kamadev is also attracted by Krishna. And strength, no one can be compared with Krishna's strength. When Krishna was just 6 days, an infant baby, he killed the demon called Putana. She was 8 miles in her, aura in her body. And Krishna's strength is so unparalleled that on his smallest finger, he can lift Govardhan. Who can compare with strength of Krishna? So Krishna is the reservoir of all strength and knowledge. Krishna's knowledge is so very deep and unlimited that the book of knowledge that Krishna has given, Bhagavad Gita, so far in human history, there is no other book which has so many additions and so many commentaries as compared to Bhagavad Gita. And the knowledge and wisdom of Bhagavad Gita is enlightening the entire human race for time immemorial to come. And Krishna's wealth, Krishna is the proprietor of all the universes, of all the planets. That he will declare in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarvalok Maheshwara. He is the proprietor of the entire planets. The richest man on this earth, what is his name? Elon Musk. Can he be the proprietor of one country or one city? Not possible. So who can compare to the wealth of Krishna and Krishna's fame? Krishna's fame with each passing year and each passing decade is still expanding, even after 5,000 years. Who can compare to the fame of Krishna and Arjuna? We cannot name even any personality from the history of 5,000 years whose fame still exists. And it is not just existing, it is expanding. And amongst all the qualities which Krishna exhibits, his foremost quality is of renunciation. That is completely renounced. He is detached. He has no attachment. Whatever he creates, whatever he possesses, he has this feeling of complete renunciation or detachment. So he is Shad Aishwarya Purnaha. So Bhagavan means, Bhaga means six, and Van means one who possesses. So, and anyone who exhibits this opulence, he is only exhibiting the fragment of Krishna's opulence. So this is Bhagavan. So Arjuna is seeking the knowledge and guidance not from any ordinary soul. He is seeking the consultation and guidance from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by studying Bhagavad Gita, we get the same opportunity what Arjuna received. So just to give you a overview that how the Supreme Lord is the source and fountainhead of everyone and everything. So Krishna expands as Lord Balaram and Srimati Radharani. That is simultaneous co-expansion. And then Balaram expands in Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. This is the quadruple. Also known as Lord Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna. And then further expansion is from Sankarshana, Lord Narayan comes. And from Narayan, there is a further second quadruple which comes, which is Vasudev, which is the soul. Which represents the soul. Then Sankarshana, which represents the false ego, Pradyumna, the mind, and Aniruddha, the intelligence. And from Sankarshan, the second Sankarshan, which is called as the Mahasankarshan, Mahavishnu comes. And Mahavishnu is responsible for the entire material creation. And from Mahavishnu, so many planets emanate. And in each planet, Mahavishnu expands and enters that Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, there is Shirodakshai Vishnu. And in this way, from Shirodakshai Vishnu, there are innumerable expansions and avatars. The Dasha avatars, the Lila avatars, the Manvantar avatars, the Yuga avatar, it is unlimited. And also the Jivas emanate, all the living entities emanate. So in this way, Krishna is the fountainhead. He is the source of everyone and everything. So we must know to whom we should consult. We should consult the most powerful and most perfect personality. So by study of Bhagavad Gita, what we do, we connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whatever may be the situation in our life, however acute may be the crisis, we will have a permanent solution. And Arjuna exercises this very intelligent decision that he inquires from Krishna. And Krishna begins by giving Arjuna the real identity. The first thing Krishna does, he chastises, as I said, and tells Arjuna that what you are lamenting for is not worth. Because in any situation, you are lamenting for the loss of life of your grandfather Bhishma and your teacher Drona and your relatives. But in any scenario, there will not be the loss of life. The soul cannot be slain. And Krishna gives this very important principle of difference between the living entity and his outer body. He says, Dehino asmin yatha dehe. Dehino means that is within the body. Who is within the body? Within the body is the owner of the body. Like we see the car. When we see from outward, we see the car. But who is the owner of the car? Who is inside the car? And this body, the owner of the body, what he experiences various phases in life, which we call as change. Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara. You see the picture here? You see from a newborn baby to the one who is ready to be buried. All the transitory phase. So the body takes birth, it grows, then it stays for some time, then it has byproducts, then it starts to dwindle, and finally it dies. It is called Shadvikar. There are 6 transformations. But a person who is in knowledge, tatha dehantara praptis dhiras tatra na muhyate. One is not bewildered. One is not disturbed by seeing this change. Krishna gives another example as if you change a garment. If you have your shirt which you have been wearing for so many years and it becomes worn out, so what do? You discard that shirt and you take a new shirt. So how do you feel? Do we lament that my old shirt has been lost? No, we rejoice that we have been given a new garment. So similarly, Krishna enlightens Arjuna. And the biggest question is that with what we are identifying ourselves. Are we identifying ourselves with the outer garment, which is constantly changing? That is the body. Or we are identifying ourselves, which is eternal, which is not visible to us. So this is very, very important. And many of our scientists, since time immemorial, they have been trying to analyze to find the answer to this question, that actually who we are. So some of the scientists, they analyzed the human body and they came to a conclusion that the human body is a combination of various chemicals. And these chemicals, they are within the structure, and the structure is made of bones and flesh and mucus and stool. And what is the revelation? This is Dr. Harry Monson from medical science in US. He gives the calculation of what it is. So taking the valuation of 5 pounds of calcium, 1.5 pounds of phosphate, potassium, our worth will be some few thousand rupees. That's it. And that's all. But actually, the real identity, our existence, is in 3 levels or on 3 platforms. The first that we see is only the outer garment or the outer covering, which is called the gross body, which takes birth and which is destroyed at the time of death. I'll give you an example of like a mobile phone. So the mobile phone, the apparatus or the handset, this handset is like the outer body that we see. But this mobile phone, how it works? It works on the basis of apps, or we call as software. And what is this software in our body? That is the subtle body. Subtle body, which is comprising, which we are not able to see. We cannot see the subtle body. But the subtle body runs the gross body. It comprises of mind, false ego, and intelligence, which we cannot see, but we can experience. But beyond both the gross and the subtle is the soul, which is like a SIM card. If your SIM crashes or if your SIM is spoiled, then you cannot call it. The mobile is dead. Nothing will work. So similarly, Krishna gives the comprehension of the real identity, which is beyond both, which is beyond gross and subtle. And that is the eternal soul. The soul remains ever unchanged, whereas the gross and the subtle both are at every moment experiencing change. So that which is changing every moment if we identify with that which is changing, so how can that lead to success and satisfaction? So Krishna raises Arjuna's platform of intelligence to come to the level of soul. So Krishna gives a very detailed discourse from verse number 11 in the second chapter till verse number 30 about the Sankhya. Sankhya means the analytical study of the difference between matter and spirit. Both body and mind and intelligence is matter. It is ever changing. And that which is beyond both is the eternal soul, in which there is no change. So this is the difference between spirit and matter. Matter is always subject to change, whereas the spirit has a feature of eternity. That means there is no change. It is always the same. And Krishna also enlightens Arjuna that matter takes birth and it dies. But for the soul, there is no such situation. Na jayate mriyate va kadachin, nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyo, ajo nityo shashvato yam purano, na hanete hanyamaneshwari. So for the soul, there is neither birth nor death. The body has birth date. We have the date of birth. And of course, the body has the date of expiry. But the soul proper has no date of birth, and there is no question of any date of expiry. So in this way, Krishna enlightens. So these are some of the qualities of soul, that it is unborn. It only transmigrates. It passes from one body to another, like the sun. When the sun sets, we don't say that the sun has died. The sun will appear tomorrow. Again, it appears next day. So the soul is eternal. It is full of knowledge, and it is always in a state of happiness, which is called ananda, full of bliss. And where is the soul situated? It is situated in the heart, but it cannot be seen or perceived. By any human experience, you go to the best X-ray machines, or now what you have? What is the latest now? What do you say? CT scan or MRI, or you try whatever whatever AI you try. And now we have AI also. You try whatever AI version you try, but none of them will be able to ever detect the soul. Also, very interestingly, the soul has form and personality, and it is indestructible and it never changes. So Krishna gives Arjuna a reality check. What is the reality check? Of the real identity. And unless and until we know who we are, where is the possibility of being satisfied or success? The satisfaction of the heart is always beyond matter. As we see, everyone is within the matter. So perfection or success is never attained unless one is satisfied at the heart. And this satisfaction of the heart has to be searched out beyond matter, beyond both the body and the subtle body. So Krishna, he guides Arjuna within this journey of internal realization, of identifying to what he actually is. That is very, very significant part of Bhagavad Gita. So that is called the analysis of the matter and spirit. Nowhere else, you try to go to any academic institute. Our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, when he was preaching in the West, he went to MIT. MIT is Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And they were boasting that they have so many departments. Srila Prabhupada challenged them, where is the department of soul? Show me the department which is able to detect the presence of soul in the body. So that they don't have. And still now, there is no department of science or technology or academic excellence which can talk about soul or the real identity. So what is our success? The success has two parameters, two platforms, broadly speaking. that one is the material success. Material success means it is having a date of origin and it will terminate, it will end. And the other is spiritual success, which is eternal. So what is spiritual is Sanatan, it is everlasting. And what is material, it is transitory, it is temporal. So to be able to come to our real identity, we should be knowing both. So Krishna enlightens Arjuna in the aspect of real identity is by performing two duties. The next section of Bhagavad Gita from verse number 31 till literally 52, Krishna talks about performing two duties. This is one of the main sections. So to be successful, we need to be knowing what is our identity. What is our true identity? Our true identity as spirit, soul, eternal, everlasting, which is always full of knowledge, which is eternal, full of knowledge, and always experiencing bliss. And to come to the realization of our eternal existence as identity, we have to perform two duties. Which is our spiritual duty, which is called the Sanatan Dharma, and the occupational duty, or the bodily dharma, which is called the Swadharma. So we see in this material world, 99.99% people do not have any knowledge or any guidance about the Sanatan Dharma or the Sanatan. So by ignoring the Sanatan duty, by ignoring the Sanatan Dharma, there is no possibility of any sustainable success or satisfaction of the heart. That is why we will see, as this yuga will progress, people will the problems, the medical science says that this coming generation will face more stress related or mental related problem. Why? Because the heart will remain dissatisfied, irrespective of whatever so-called success or achievement one may have. So to be able to perform both the Sanatan Dharma and our Swadharma, first we need to know who we are. Then only one can perform both. So we should be knowing precisely that what is our two duties. And Krishna gives this knowledge about both Swadharma and Sanatan Dharma in Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna tells Arjuna that for the soul, there is never a situation of sorrow. The soul is always in bliss, in happiness. It can never be in a state of sorrow. So Bhagavad Gita begins at the verse 2.11, where Krishna chastises Arjuna and he says, why you are lamenting? Ashochayan anva sochasva. And in the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, also Krishna concludes by saying that aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami masucha, that I will free you from all suffering and lamentation. So Bhagavad Gita, if we accept in our life, then for sure there is no state of sorrow or suffering. See, in this world, till the time we will exist, miseries will be there. It is inevitable. There will always be a situation of some miseries. But suffering is optional. Not everyone will suffer to the same extent. The one who has embraced the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, for him there is no such situation where he will have to suffer. Arjuna is elevating all of us that if we accept the principles and the lessons of Bhagavad Gita, then in our life there will be no more sorrow or anxiety or lamentation and no suffering. There will be situations of miseries, but with our knowledge and detachment, we will not be affected by it. Going quickly because I have less time now. So this is the soul of science which Krishna enlightens Arjuna. And this is the overview of the entire existence. So this chariot is compared to the body, and within the body is the soul. The soul is the passenger, and the chariot is the body. And the horses which are driving the body are compared to the senses, and how the horses, the senses are controlled through the reins, through the rope which is tying the horses. And this rope is the mind. And the person who is driving the horses, the chariot driver, is like the intelligence. So actually, it is the soul who is the owner, or who is the one who will decide what to do. And the soul should give command to the intelligence, and intelligence will give command to the mind. And the mind will further give command to the senses, and the senses will work. But in our ordinary course of life, it is just the reverse. Our senses, as soon as they see the sense object, they become wild. And they tell the mind that they have a desire to enjoy. And immediately the mind says, yes, in the past life or in the past experience, I possess this sense enjoyment and I liked it. The intelligent is not able to decide. It is overpowered by the mind. So Krishna gives that spiritual intelligence to be able to control our mind and senses in Bhagavad Gita by performing this two duty. So with our real identity as soul, we perform the dharma of the soul, and then we can achieve the true success, the everlasting success. This is how it works. So Swadharma, so we have to perform both. Swadharma is based on body. So based on body, what we have to do? We have to perform occupation. Like some of you are MBBS student. So what is your Swadharma, your bodily dharma? That you must study. If you don't perform your Swadharma in a student life, if you don't study, then you are not performing your duty. So there will be sinful reaction. But because we are not just this body, we are also the eternal soul. So we have to perform Sanatan Dharma, the ultimate occupation for liberation. So both should go side by side. So we may have so many identity. People have now Facebook, but in Facebook, they don't reveal their real name. They have some pseudonym. Facebook identity, YouTube identity, so many false identities we have. Similarly, one of the false identity that we have is our identification with body. And even more false identity we have is our identity with our mind. So Krishna removes the illusion of false identity and reinstates the real identity as soul. So the decision that we take should be based on what we consider we are. So this is the chronology. This is the rediscovering of our real identity. We should take decisions on our eternal existence, that we are spirit soul. Bible says that what profiteth a man if he gains the whole world, yet he suffers the loss of his eternal soul. You may be knowing the success of a very big king called Alexander. He was a very big conqueror. But ultimately, what happened? Even if he burned the riches of the world, he died. And at the time of death, he realized this. But it was too late. The lifespan was over. And what would be the criteria? That we should be aware that we are not just this body, and our decision should also be responsible. So our jobs and our relations are not our identity. They are our roles. They are our responsibility. And we should come to this realization that I am not the body, but the body belongs to me. I have a body. And at the time of death, when the body will be taken away, not everything is lost. I will never be lost. So this we covered. But there are many evidences of soul. I will not discuss that because I have very less time. I will wrap up now. So the qualities and the attributes of soul is very much explained in many verses of Bhagavad Gita in this section. So another lesson that we should learn is that sometimes people, when they are very much frustrated in their life, if their crisis goes beyond their emotions and beyond their sentiment, so they try to commit suicide. But that is no solution. One cannot escape. One cannot escape miseries by damaging or destroying the body, because he will be forced to take another body. Like a prisoner who runs away from the prison house, thinking that if he comes out of the prison house, his prison term is over. No, it is just a matter of time. He will be caught again. And he will be more enforced to rigorous imprisonment. So this way, Krishna enlightens Arjuna to perform both duties. One good example is the example of a bird and a cage. So the cage is compared to the body and bird is compared to the soul. So if we keep polishing the cage and stop feeding the bird, what will be the result? The birds will die. So same is happening with us in our present life. We are very much obsessed with the body and we are completely neglecting the eternal self, which is the soul, and that's suffering. So Krishna enlightens Arjuna and he inspires Arjuna, and he says that any action which is done for the Sanatan Dharma, for the platform of reviving one's knowledge of the soul, that action is everlasting. It is eternal. There is, in this endeavor, there is no loss, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous part of fear. If you do 1% in this life, the next life it will begin with 2%. But in this life, if you are a medical practitioner, a medical student, if you pass 4 years and then you leave, and when in the next life you come and you say that in my past life, I have completed 3 years of MBBS, so I will begin with the 4th year. That will never happen. So anything done on the bodily platform, it is going to be lost. But on the spiritual platform, it is eternal. So Krishna gives this principle. And the very important verse of Karmanne Vadhikaraste. So how we should perform our occupational duty? That we have the right to perform our prescribed duty, but never be attached to the result or the fruit of our action. Never think that because this action is performed by me, so I am the one who is the proprietor to enjoy the result. Ma phaleshu kadachana. This verse is most popular but least understood. And then Krishna says, never consider yourself to be the cause, the only cause of the action which you have performed, and never be attached to not performing your prescribed action. So Krishna checkmates all the 3 conditions where the conditioned soul is very much inclined. Our attraction to the tree is to the flowers and fruits. We never look at the roots. But Krishna says, you are not entitled for the fruits. And never consider that it is because of you that the flowers and the fruits have blossomed. And then we say, we are depressed, that if I am not the performer, if I am not the proprietor, if I cannot enjoy the result, then why should I work? Krishna says, no. You cannot escape from your work, like Arjuna was trying to do. In all the 3 conditions, you will receive a reaction, which is called the karma phal. So, all sufferings in this life is due to this imbalance of wrong identity, false identity. Our identity only with our body, mind, false ego and intelligence. And there is a complete imbalance of we are neglecting life after life, our Sanatana Dharma. So we are suffering. And this suffering will continue to deepen because there is no knowledge, no culture of education of Sanatan Dharma. So if we perform the Sanatan Dharma, then we experience the higher taste. This is what the living entity is hankering for. Life after life, it is looking for that higher pleasure. That pleasure which is never terminated. That pleasure which never dries up. But in this world, whatever pleasure he experiences is short-lived. And it never gives full satisfaction. So Krishna says, Vishya vinivartante niharasya dehina raso varjam raso piyasya param drishtva nivartate. When you come to the platform of soul and perform Sanatan Dharma, then you experience that higher pleasure. Because the pleasure is experienced by the soul, not by the body. Body is already dead. What can a dead matter experience pleasure? But because we are misidentifying ourselves with material body, we are thinking that the bodily pleasure is all in all. So one who performs the Sanatan Dharma, he comes to the spiritual intelligence. He comes to realize that he's out. So there is a discourse in the final section that what are the symptoms of a person who has realized his true identity as not the body or the mind, but as the eternal self, which is the soul. So, and what kind of actions he performs. So that is called the Sthita Pragya. Pragya means intelligence and Sthita means who is fixed. So when the intelligence is fixed in what? In the eternal self, which is the soul. Then it is not deviated. Then it is not degraded. Then it is not experiencing any distress. So this is a very beautiful section. So the missing link in our life is the higher taste. And this higher taste will come when we link ourselves with the knowledge and lessons of Bhagavad Gita, is to perform the two duties, both the Swadharma and the Sanatana. It is not that we perform one and we neglect the other. Then there is no scope of realization. And then Krishna also warns us that on this path, there are some distractions and deviations. Beware of those deviations and distractions. From where it comes? It comes from contemplation of the senses with the sense objects, which is Dhyato. And if we have wrong attachments, if we have wrong positions, then these attachments will lead us to the weakness of the heart. And what is this weakness of the heart? Is lust. And when there is lust in the heart, it will also result in anger. And in anger, there is complete delusion or illusion. And in that bewildered state, the intelligence does not work. Like we see the intelligence of both. Neither the intelligence of Dhritarashtra is working. He is very much determined to have this war, even after knowing that his all sons will be dead. And Arjuna's intelligence is also bewildered. He knows that as a Kshatriya, his duty is to fight for the right cause. But he is thinking that if I lose my near and dear one, how can I enjoy? So he is denying to participate in the war. So then the fall down is inevitable. But Arjuna is very intelligent. He does not take his own decision. Whatever his mind desires, he does not agree to just follow tamely. He consults with Krishna and he is rescued from the situation. Okay. So in a way, we saw the overview of the entire chapter, that in the crisis, Arjuna does not take his own decision, but he surrenders to Krishna and he accepts the consultation of Krishna. And Krishna begins to give the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita by giving Arjuna his right identity, the real identity. He removes the misidentity. Identity based on body, identity based on mind, intelligence, and false ego. And he brings Arjuna to the eternal platform of spirit soul by inspiring him to perform the two duties. The Swadharma, that is the bodily dharma, the occupational duty, and also duty towards the soul. And then Arjuna can come to the platform of sustained happiness. So thank you very much. To some extent, I tried to share with all of you the overview of the second chapter, although it has 72 verses and it has all the contents of Gita which needs to be known. The most important link in our life is our true identity. And on our own, there is no possibility for us to come to the real identity of who we are. If we do not know who we are, then how is it possible to be in a position where we can be successful or we can experience happiness? So it is imperative for all of us to be free from false identity and embrace the true identity and become eternally happy. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. And if you have any questions or doubts or challenges, so now the platform is open for you. You can fire. You can start firing at me. Hare Krishna. Tune on your videos. Most of you have videos around. This is another disease of remaining hidden, not revealing the true identity. This is another form of misidentification. Hare Krishna. Krishnam. You are in Tashkent, Krishnam?
Oh, yeah. Yes, probably currently I'm in Tashkent, in the mandir right now, as you can see.
Okay. Okay, very good.
Yes. All good.
So what do you say? What is your feeling after hearing what Krishna is revealing in Bhagavad Gita? Hare Krishna. Brinder ji, how are you?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Can you hear
Krishna.
me now?
No, आपका दर्शन नहीं हो रहा. We can't see you.
Actually, I'm not able to switch on to camera. Is it okay now?
We can hear you.
Okay. Prabhuji, I'm not able to switch on the video.
No, now it is something was
Something
being
there in background.
shown. Okay. Now
Okay.
you are visible.
Now
Now
it's
you are
okay. Hare
This
Krishna,
is
Prabhuji.
how the soul is not visible. The soul is invisible.
Yes. Okay.
We have to make
Prabhuji,
some
I've got
endeavor.
two questions.
Yes, please go ahead.
Actually, I'm not able to understand what is mind, false ego, and intelligence. And as we know that, see, it will, transfer, it will not die because this is part of subtle body. So how can we rectify subtle body, and how it will affect to the next janma of human being or human soul? Yeah,
Very
so
good.
these are two questions, Rohit.
Okay, good. Very good. So see, as I said that we are having the three levels of existence.
Mhm.
The outermost, which is visible.
Visible.
Okay. That is the gross body. It is comprising of 5 elements. Earth, air, water, fire, and ether. That we can see. But as I said, like a machine, that like you have a mobile phone. You can see the mobile phone, the handset. But how the handset works? Because of the apps which are inside or the software. From the outside, you don't see the software. So this software is mind, intelligence, and ego. We have experience. Don't we say today my mind is not right? I am out of mind, or my mind is very depressed. So we have experience of mind. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. And it is our mind which makes the decision. So the mind has three functions, very important functions. It is the most powerful element in our existence. The mind makes sankalpa and vikalpa. Sankalpa means that what it will perform and what it will not perform, based on his past life experience. Second, mind is the storehouse of all our desires. How are we motivated? It is through the mechanism of mind. That there is some desire which comes, where it comes from. What is the originating place? From where it is coming? It is coming from the mind. From our mind. So mind is the storehouse of all past lives and experience. So mind is like, the software, which is always hyperactive, which is always processing. We are taking knowledge from our senses. From eyes we see, from ear we hear, from nose we smell, from tongue we speak, this way. These are called all knowledge acquiring senses. And whatever information or knowledge is coming, who is processing? That is the mind. And the mind is the next level, which is subtle. So you cannot see the mind. No scientist by any resource or by any human effort in even times in future to come will never be able to see the mind. But we can all experience the influence of the mind. How influence is the mind? If the mind is disturbed, can we be normal? No. It creates a havoc. It plays a havoc on us. We see the mind of Arjuna is disturbed. He's crying. So whenever there is emotion or sentiment, who controls? It is the mind. A very powerful element in our existence is the mind. Then even more subtle, it is 10 times more subtle. Then the mind is the intelligence. How intelligence works? Intelligence means discrimination, the power of discrimination, or the decision making. On what basis? That what is right and what is wrong. Like we say, that person has no intelligence. So I cannot take his decision, or I cannot take his consultation. A person who has good intelligence, we will want to take his consultation. So the power of intelligence is to give right discrimination. That what is to be done and what is not to be done. And what is the basis of decision? Should be dharma. What is right, we must do, and what is wrong, we must avoid. Also, the intelligence, the function of memory is there. Function of memory is intelligence. Apprehension, where does apprehension come? From the intelligence. So this is intelligence. It is distinct from the mind, quite distinct. It has different attributes, it has different decisions. And more subtle than both the mind and the intelligence is the false ego. What is this false ego? The false ego is the false identity of the living entity, that it does not identify itself with the real self, which is soul, but it identifies itself with matter. Or it is called ignorance or niscience. So why we are changing bodies from one body to another body? Like, I'll give you an example. If you change the mobile phone, one thing you don't change. What is that?
SIM card.
So in your SIM card, what is there? All your contacts are there.
Memory is there.
Memory is there. So if you change the mobile also, all your contact remains the same. So we are changing bodies, but our mind, intelligence, and ego is not changing. So our thinking, willing, and feeling is not changing. Again and again, life and life, we are identifying ourselves only with matter, not with spirit. So what has to change? The subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego has to be changed. The mind has to be spiritualized. Intelligence has to be spiritualized. And from false ego, we have to come to the true ego. What is the true ego? That I am not the product of matter, I am a product of Krishna, which is eternal. So that is transformation. That is transformation. So this is our journey. This is our internal journey. We don't have to change things outside. Then if we try to continue changing things outside, only our outer bodies will keep changing. From one species to another species, from one planet to another planet. But there will not be ever liberation of the soul. So if the subtle body is spiritualized, that is why the entire training is the training of the mind and intelligence and false ego. This is our journey. Very interesting. And you ask this journey to be held by any travel consultant, he has no clue. Okay. What is your second question? Is it answered or still needs to answer?
See, maybe there was some question also.
Yeah.
That how can we, purify it or rectify it or correct it, this subtle body?
The subtle body is to be rectified by performing Sanatan Dharma. I said two dharmas. Like you are a businessman and you are also a family man, just here. So you have both the duties and both the responsibilities. You have responsibilities to your business also, and you have responsibilities to your family also. You cannot say, I am a family man, so I can neglect business. Then you cannot support your family also. Or you cannot say that I am a businessman, I will neglect my family. Then you cannot exist also. So this is on the bodily platform. But on the platform of soul, there is Sanatan Dharma. So what is that? Like you are hearing Bhagavad Gita. This is reviving our real identity. Chanting, studying Bhagavad Gita, associating with saintly person, accepting the principles given by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. That is Sanatana Dharma. So that is rectification. Removing the wrong identity and establishing the real identity. Thank you very much for very relevant inquiries. I wish that you'd be there in all the classes. I will try to present. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Other students, devotees, if you have any doubt, please ask. Everyone, the darshan is off.
Prabhuji, I hope you're live still. Just one thing.
I am very much live and kicking.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So my doubt is a little bit related to, the presentation of today and a little bit kind of digressing from the topic.
No, go ahead.
Alongside the presentation, we got to saw that there are certain things that we need not happen to have, like anger, lust, and ego and stuff. Apparently, that chart you made in one of your presentations, right? So, regarding ego, well, we all know. Of course, you especially know better that ego is ahankar is not good stuff. Apparently, when we go deep into some of our Sanatan Dharma, we get confused, what is ego? Because on surface level, we feel like, yeah, I'm the best and stuff like that. That is ego. Apparently, it goes deeper than that. For example, I know that I may be taking too long, right? But yeah, like we know in Sanatan Dharma, we got the concept of the Leela and Maya. Maya would be like the illusion or like the Matrix, the Keanu Reeves movie Matrix. And then there's the Leela, which is called the God's theater or God's play. Like the world is a stage and people are actors on the stage, and it's all the Leela, that is the drama of the God. Apparently, if you prescribe to the Maya part, where you prescribe to the illusion thing, it is, and where you see yourself as a servant of God. Somewhere it will be seen as good, like, yeah, that's how you should view yourself. You're not being egoistic, you're being good, true to the Sanatan Dharma. Apparently, there's other school which will say, okay, you are not viewing yourself as a part of God. You're viewing yourself separate from the God. That's ego, that's ahankar. And then you know what happens with ahankar and blah, blah, blah. Then there's another school of thought where you say that you are a part of God, like you say, Brahmasmi
Okay,
or
I get your
Shivoham,
point.
something like
Okay,
that.
one
Kind of like
one
that, yeah.
moment, Krishnam. Yeah, let us go,
Yeah.
step by step, because there is so much of misinformation and there are so many
I
stories
know.
circulating around. See, try to
Yeah.
understand. I'll speak about the presentation. See,
Yeah.
the character of ego in us, what it does, it misleads us. We are not talking about ego on the external platform. We are talking about the ego on the eternal platform, which does not allow us to identify with our true self. This is the veil, a covering.
Yeah.
False ego is the most subtle covering on the soul, which does not allow the soul to experience itself. But the living entity, that is eternal, which is full of knowledge, and which is always in bliss, it wrongly identifies itself with matter and it suffers. So it may have many dimensions, as you mentioned, all those are various facets of the ego. But the nucleus of the ego is that it does not allow the living entity to rediscover its real identity.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So as a sincere seeker, what we have to do, we have to take care of this false ego. Not allow the false ego to birth after birth. Let us remain in oblivion, in ignorance.
Sure.
Okay.
That
So
is true.
Bhagavad Gita gives us this chance, this opportunity to come out of this veil of false ego. I don't know about others.
Yeah,
They don't have the focus. No one has the focus. The focus is only there in Bhagavad Gita. So that is most important.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
So, in a nutshell, just one last thing I know.
Yeah.
Should you be considered? Should I be considering myself? Should I try to be a servant of God, or should I try to be like being one with the God? Like, because one school. Yeah, I know it is confusing.
One second.
When
No, there is no confusion. No, I'll help you to have clarity. I'll help you to have clarity. I explained that who is God? I explained God is one who is the reservoir of all the six opulences.
Oh, correct.
Yeah. And one of his greatest opulence is renunciation and detachment. Although he is the owner and the proprietor and the enjoyer of everyone and everything, he has still given us freedom. You can think whether I am the same as God or one or not. But he does not come and interfere or punish us. Does he do that? No. That is his renunciation. That is his renunciation. Yeah. So we can never be the one. I give you one example, very crude example. Like you are the son of your father, isn't it? But both of you are not one. You are both individuals, two separate individuals. There are many common things. Both of you may have the same surname. Both of you share the same house. Many things you may have same. But originally, individually, both are distinct. You get it?
Totally.
Yeah.
I got you.
Thank
Somehow.
you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Here, Bhagavad Gita, all these misconceptions will be completely eradicated. It will be removed. and keep chanting. You promised me that you will chant. I hope you are chanting.
Yeah, I do, certainly. I mean, at least every Ekadashi, I do it. At least. Yeah.
Can
No,
you
I mean,
say, are we feeding our body every Ekadashi?
actually, we are, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but like we are not feeding our body every Ekadashi. Basically, we are trying to be closer to the God by eating
No, no,
less
what
so
I
that
mean
we
to
get
say,
distressed, something like that.
we have to keep balance of both. Yeah.
No, certainly, certainly.
If you are dedicating at least say 20 hours for your occupational duty, Swadharma, at least dedicate 4 hours to Sanatan Dharma also.
So, certainly, for sure. Yeah, that is certainly. I'll try
Okay.
to do better. Yeah.
Okay, Das Raghunath Prabhu, it is getting 7. I have many calls. Yeah. So if someone has any further question, please ask. Otherwise, we will conclude for today. And Das Raghunath Prabhu will declare. He is my guide, what I have to present in the next session. Hare Krishna.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
All right. So thank you very much. And this week, the participation was more, and you asked question also. So the class was more lively. Uh, so it was a very good session, a lot of important lesson, and probably you need some time to digest the things and contemplate again, and then maybe come back again next week and ask the questions. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. And I just invite you, for all of you who are just here right now, like some of you have left during the question answer session. So the third session would be repositioning lifestyle. So basically, it will be based on chapter number 3, chapter number 4, chapter number 5 of Bhagavad Gita. So 3 chapters we will be covering, and we'll be discussing how to balance our duties and because when we are in the world, we have to do something, but still we how we can remain unattached and move toward our self-realization, the identity that we have discovered today. So please come next time and also invite your friends because in association we grow. So if you are alone, then if all around us don't share the same understanding, then at times it becomes very difficult. So please, if you have your loved ones, your friends, and so you can invite them. Of course it will be their free will, but definitely we can at least ask them and help them to come to the classes. And so thank you very much for coming today. Thank you very much, His Grace Pandapin Prabhuji, for taking out time and explaining the concepts very nicely, beautifully, and also taking the very beautiful questions and explaining them very nicely. And thank you to all of you for coming again. And so see you next week, and same time 5:30 with a very again a new topic and an important topic. Till then, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.